Hey, welcome back. I'm Ellie, registered nurse and vascular health educator. And today I want to do something that I've been planning for a while on this channel. I want to give you the complete daily protocol. Not a tip, not one exercise, not a quick fix. The full, structured routine, morning, midday, and evening that I actually give to my patients when they come through my clinic with chronic leg swelling. The routine that most of them didn't get from their doctors. Not because their doctors don't care, but because of 15 minutes. Let me explain what I mean. I've spent 25 years working alongside physicians, brilliant, dedicated clinicians. And the reality of medical practice is that a standard appointment is typically 15 minutes long. In those 15 minutes, your doctor has to review your history, examine you, consider diagnoses, address your concerns, update your medication list, and wrap up with whatever documentation the system requires. That is a lot to accomplish in a quarter of an hour. What that time frame cannot accommodate, at least not usually, is a thorough, practical conversation about daily management, about what you should do when you wake up tomorrow, about how to arrange your day so that swelling doesn't build as severely, about what to eat, what to wear, how much water to drink, when to rest, and how. About the small, consistent daily habits that, done faithfully, can reduce your swelling as much or more than any medication. That conversation is what I have with patients. It's what I do all day long. And it's the reason I started this channel, to make that conversation available to everyone, not just the people who happen to have access to a vascular health educator. So today, the full daily protocol, specific, practical, step by step. But before I get into the routine itself, I want to spend about 5 minutes on the science, because I've been doing this long enough to know that when you understand why something works, you're dramatically more likely to stick with it than when you're just following instructions without context. Why does leg swelling get worse after 60? There are 3 separate mechanisms happening simultaneously in your legs as you age, and understanding all 3 helps explain why the routine I'm about to give you targets what it targets. Mechanism number 1, vein wall changes. Your veins are not rigid tubes. They're soft, flexible structures with smooth muscle in their walls. In younger veins, those walls are elastic. They expand when blood pressure rises and recoil when it drops, helping to squeeze blood along toward the heart. As we age, the vein walls gradually lose some of their elasticity. They become less responsive. The active pumping contribution of the vein walls themselves decreases. Blood moves more sluggishly. Mechanism number 2, valve weakening. Inside your veins, particularly in the legs, where blood has to travel uphill against gravity, there are tiny one-way valves spaced at intervals along the vein's length. These valves work like hinged flaps. When blood pushes upward, they open. When the flow pauses, they close, preventing the blood from sliding back down. As we age, these valves gradually weaken. The tissue becomes less taut. The flaps don't close as fully. Blood starts to leak backward and pool in the sections of vein below each valve. And when blood pools in the lower legs, the pressure inside those veins increases, and fluid gets pushed out through the vein walls into the surrounding tissue, which is what ankle and lower leg swelling actually is, physically speaking. Mechanism number 3, the calf muscle pump effect. Of all the mechanisms I'm going to describe today, this is the one that is most directly within your control. Your calf muscles are, and I say this to every patient, your leg's second heart. When your calf muscles contract, they apply pressure to the deep veins running through the calf, and they physically squeeze blood upward toward the heart. With every step you take, every time you rise on your toes, every time you push off the floor while walking, your calf muscles are actively pumping blood back up against gravity. This is called the skeletal muscle pump, or calf muscle pump effect, and it is one of the most powerful mechanisms your body has for returning blood from the lower extremities. The problem is that as people age and become more sedentary, more time sitting, less regular walking and movement, the calf muscle pump becomes chronically underactivated. If you're sitting in a chair for 2 or 3 hours at a stretch, your calf muscles are largely inactive. Nothing is pumping. Blood pools. Swelling builds. Here's what makes this important. Of the 3 mechanisms, only the calf muscle pump effect is something you can significantly influence through daily habits. You cannot directly restore elasticity to aging vein walls. You cannot reverse the natural weakening of vein valves, but you can keep your calf muscles active throughout the day with targeted exercises and regular movement. And you can dramatically compensate for the loss in vein wall and valve function. That compensation is what the daily protocol is all about. All right, let's get into the routine. The morning protocol. The moment you stand up, gravity reasserts itself. Blood starts pooling. Fluid starts accumulating. The swelling begins again. Step 1. Ankle exercises before getting out of bed. Step 2. Compression socks on before standing. Step 3. A glass of water before coffee. If you are physically able to walk, even a 10-minute walk in the morning makes a meaningful difference in your circulation for the entire day. Morning movement activates the calf muscle pump vigorously, gets the whole cardiovascular system engaged, and establishes a positive physical baseline that your body carries into the rest of the day. If outdoor walking isn't possible, if the weather is bad, if your balance isn't steady enough for outdoor walking, if you live in a space that doesn't allow it, walking around your home works. Walking to your mailbox and back works. Marching in place while holding a stable surface works. The specific form is less important than the consistent activation of your leg muscles. That is the morning protocol. 4 steps, total time investment, about 15 to 20 minutes, including your walk. And the return on that 15 to 20 minutes? In reduced swelling and improved leg comfort throughout the day is genuinely significant. We've covered the morning protocol: ankle exercises in bed, compression socks before standing, a glass of water before coffee, and a brief morning walk. Now I want to walk you through what to do during the middle of the day, because the midday hours are where most people undo the good work they did in the morning. The midday protocol. Here's the pattern I see over and over again with my patients. They follow the morning routine faithfully. They do their ankle exercises. They put on their compression socks. They walk a bit. They're feeling good. And then they sit down for breakfast or settle into their favorite chair. And without quite realizing it, 2 hours go by, maybe 3. They've been sitting, legs down, not moving, while blood pools steadily in their lower legs and the swelling gradually rebuilds. By early afternoon, the legs are heavy. By late afternoon, the ankles are tight. And they wonder why the morning routine didn't do more. The answer is, the morning routine can only take you so far if you spend the rest of the day sedentary. Circulation requires ongoing maintenance throughout the day. The calf muscle pump needs to be periodically activated, not just once in the morning. And that is exactly what the midday protocol addresses. Rule number 1, and this is the single most impactful midday habit, is this: never sit still for more than 45 to 60 minutes without activating your legs. I'll say that again because I want you to really internalize it. 45 to 60 minutes maximum of unbroken sitting. Then you either stand up and walk for 2 to 3 minutes, or you do a full round of ankle pump exercises in your seat, one or the other. Then you can sit again. Now, I understand that this sounds like it would constantly interrupt your day. You're watching a movie, you're reading a book, you're having a conversation. You don't want to stop every hour to do ankle exercises. I hear that, and I want to offer you a reframe. You already take breaks throughout your day. You get up for water, you use the restroom, you go to the kitchen. Those transitions, those moments when you're already moving, count. What I'm asking you to add is awareness. If you find yourself sitting and realizing it's been an hour and a half since you last moved, set a timer for next time. After a week or two of being intentional about this, it becomes automatic. The seated ankle pump option is there for days when standing and walking aren't comfortable or practical. Sitting in your chair, both feet flat on the floor, do your heel raises, toe raises, and ankle circles. 3 minutes. Done. Your calf muscles have contracted, blood has been pushed upward, and you've prevented an accumulation of pooling. Rule number 2, stay hydrated throughout the midday hours. I recommend aiming for 1 glass of water every 1 to 2 hours during the day. A simple, practical strategy that many of my patients have found helpful. Keep a large water bottle, 32 ounces or similar, on the table where you spend most of your time, not in the kitchen, not in a cabinet, on your table, next to your chair, in your direct line of sight. Out of sight truly does mean out of mind when it comes to hydration. If the bottle is in front of you, you'll drink it. If it requires you to go get it, you often won't. Herbal teas count toward your fluid intake. Plain sparkling water counts. What does not count, or counts much less, is coffee and alcohol. Both have diuretic properties that increase your fluid losses and work against your hydration goal. Rule number 3, be mindful of sodium at lunch. Here is a quick sodium reality check. 1 can of condensed tomato soup, roughly 900 milligrams of sodium per serving. A deli turkey sandwich made with 2 slices of bread, 2 ounces of turkey, and a tablespoon of mustard. Approximately 1,200 to 1,300 milligrams of sodium. A cup of canned chicken noodle soup, 800 to 1,000 milligrams. If you eat a typical processed food lunch, you may reach your entire recommended daily sodium intake, 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams, before dinner. And then dinner adds several hundred to over 1,000 more. By the end of the day, you've consumed 3 or 4 times the sodium your body needs, and your ankles are paying the price. Lower sodium lunch options don't have to be complicated. A salad with fresh vegetables and grilled chicken or canned tuna packed in water, dressed with olive oil and lemon. Scrambled eggs with spinach and tomatoes. A homemade soup made with low sodium broth. Fresh fruit and a small handful of nuts. These are simple, accessible meals that keep your sodium intake in a range that supports, rather than undermines, your swelling management. I also want to address something that doesn't get mentioned enough in conversations about leg swelling management: what you're wearing. If you're wearing regular socks, look for ones labeled non-binding that have very light, flexible elastic at the top. If your socks leave visible indentations on your lower legs after wearing them, they're too tight. The evening protocol. Step 1. 30 minutes of leg elevation, minimum. I want to be specific about how to do this because, as I mentioned in another video, most people elevate their legs incorrectly and don't get the full benefit. This takes 60 seconds. Before putting lotion on your feet or settling in for the night, take one careful look at your feet. The tops of your feet, the soles, between your toes, and around your ankles. What you're looking for: any new sores, blisters, cuts, or scratches. Any areas of redness, unusual warmth, or swelling that seems localized to one spot. Any skin discoloration, particularly dark red or brownish patches. Any toenail changes, thickening, discoloration, or signs of ingrown nails. This foot check is especially critical for people with diabetes or diabetic neuropathy because reduced sensation in the feet means you may not feel minor injuries that are beginning to develop. Caught early, a small wound or pressure sore is very manageable. Caught late, or not caught at all, these can become serious complications. But the foot check is good practice for everyone. Your feet are the part of your body farthest from your heart, dealing with the most gravitational challenge and the most likely to show early signs of vascular changes. 60 seconds a night is a very small investment for the benefit of knowing what's happening down there. We've covered the morning protocol, the midday protocol, and the evening protocol. Now, I want to round out today's video with 3 more things: the weekly habits that support your daily routine, the warning signs that should send you to a doctor rather than to your ankle pump exercises, and a clear summary of everything we've talked about. Weekly habits. In addition to the daily routine, there are a few things I recommend doing once a week that give you objective information about how your management is going. The first weekly habit is a measurement check. Take a soft fabric measuring tape and measure your ankle at its narrowest point, usually just above the ankle bone, and your calf at its widest point. Write down the measurements with the date. Do this at the same time of day each week. I recommend first thing in the morning, when swelling is at its lowest, for consistency. Here is why this matters. When you're looking at your ankles every day, it's very hard to judge whether they're actually improving or staying the same because changes happen gradually and our brains adapt to what we see. We normalize whatever we look at daily. Measurements give you objective data that your perception can't override. If your ankle measurement has gone from 10 inches to 9.5 inches over 4 weeks, that is real, documentable improvement that might not be obvious just from looking. Conversely, if your measurements are staying the same or creeping upward despite consistent adherence to the protocol, that is important information to bring to your doctor. It may mean your swelling needs medical management beyond what lifestyle interventions can address alone. The second weekly habit is a sodium audit. Not obsessive tracking, just a general review. Look back over the past few days and ask yourself honestly, were there any particularly high sodium meals? Restaurant meals are the most common culprit for most people. Fast food, Chinese takeout, pizza, diner breakfasts, Italian restaurant portions, all of these tend to be extremely high in sodium. A single restaurant meal can easily contain 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of sodium. The purpose of the audit isn't to feel bad about what you ate. It's to develop awareness. Over time, as you become more familiar with which foods are high in sodium and which aren't, you make better choices automatically. The audit is just a tool for building that awareness faster. The third weekly habit is a sleep quality check. I want to talk about sleep for a moment because it connects to leg swelling in ways that most people don't realize. Poor sleep, particularly getting fewer than 6 to 7 hours consistently, affects multiple systems in your body that are relevant to circulation and fluid management. It increases levels of cortisol, a stress hormone that promotes inflammation. It impairs the kidney's ability to regulate fluid balance during the night. It reduces the body's overnight tissue repair processes that help maintain the health of vein walls. And it generally leaves you more fatigued during the day, which reduces your activity levels, which reduces calf muscle pump activation. Poor sleep is, in a very real sense, bad for your leg swelling. If you're consistently sleeping fewer than 6 hours, or if your sleep quality is poor, frequent waking, feeling unrefreshed in the morning, significant snoring or breathing interruptions, it is worth addressing. Talk to your doctor about sleep if this is an issue. The connection to leg and vascular health is real. The fourth weekly habit is a brief self-compassion check-in. I know that might sound unusual coming from a nurse in a clinical video, but I've been doing this work long enough to know that chronic health management is emotionally taxing. Managing leg swelling is not a one-time fix. It's a daily routine, every day, indefinitely. Some weeks you'll be perfectly consistent. Other weeks life gets in the way. You travel, you have a family event, you're tired or stressed, and the routines slip. That is normal. That is human. And the last thing I want is for you to feel like a failure on the weeks when you don't do everything perfectly. Progress is not linear. Consistency over time, even imperfect consistency, produces real results. What matters is that you get back to the routine, not that you never miss a day. Knowing the warning signs. Now this is the part of every video where the nurse in me comes out firmly. I want you to know the warning signs that mean you need medical attention, not the home routine, not ankle pumps, not compression socks, a doctor. Call your doctor the same day or go to urgent care or the emergency room for any of the following. Sudden swelling that comes on quickly, particularly if it's only in one leg. Chronic bilateral swelling builds slowly over the course of a day. Sudden, rapid swelling in one leg is a different picture. It can indicate a blood clot or deep vein thrombosis, and it needs to be evaluated promptly. Redness, warmth, or tenderness in the calf. These are classic signs of deep vein thrombosis. The calf may feel tender to the touch or warm compared to the other leg. If you press gently on the calf and it's significantly sore, that needs evaluation. Any swelling accompanied by shortness of breath, chest tightness, or chest pain. This combination can indicate that a clot has traveled from the leg to the lungs, a pulmonary embolism, which is a medical emergency. If you have these symptoms, call emergency services immediately. Do not drive yourself. Skin that looks shiny and stretched, or that appears to be weeping fluid. This indicates the swelling has progressed to a degree that requires medical management. It can also indicate risk of skin breakdown and infection. Skin that has turned dark brown, burgundy, or reddish brown around the ankle or lower leg, or skin that has developed open sores, cracking, or weeping wounds. This is called venous stasis dermatitis, with possible skin ulceration, and it needs wound care management. Pulling it all together, the complete daily protocol. Subscribe to Legs for Life if you haven't yet. New videos every week. And if you have questions about your own specific situation, leave them in the comments. I read every single one, and I try to address the most common questions in future videos. Thank you. Take care of those legs, and remember, healthy legs mean an independent life. Movement is medicine, no matter how small. Let's get that blood pumping and those legs moving.